Emily sat on the edge of her worn-out couch, the dim glow from a single lamp casting shadows on the peeling wallpaper. It was nearly midnight, and the apartment felt colder than usual. From the corner, her baby's soft whimper turned into a cry, sharp and urgent. She rocked the little bundle in her arms, whispering soothing words, but her eyes kept drifting toward the almost empty can of baby formula on the kitchen counter. She'd been stretching it for days, adding a little extra water, skipping her own meals to make sure there was enough for her child. Her heart sank as she unlocked her phone. She hated asking for help, it always made her feel like she was failing, but tonight, there was no choice. She typed a message to her closest friend, her fingers trembling. "I hate to ask, but could you help me buy formula? I'll pay you back." The words felt heavy, like they carried every ounce of her pride. She read the message twice, swallowed her hesitation, and pressed send. The baby's cries softened as she hummed a lullaby, though her mind was still racing, wondering if her friend would even be awake, wondering how she'd manage if the answer was no. She didn't notice the tiny mistake, a wrong digit in the phone number. Somewhere out there, her plea for help had just landed in the hands of a complete stranger. Her phone screen dimmed, and she sighed, unaware that one accidental text was about to change her life forever. Emily's phone buzzed, the sharp vibration startling her in the quiet room. She glanced down, expecting her friend's familiar warmth in the reply. Instead, the words on the screen made her stomach tighten. "Who is this?" Confused, she stared at the message. She quickly typed back, "Oh, I'm so sorry, wrong number." A wave of embarrassment flushed through her. She imagined some stranger, probably irritated, wondering why a desperate request had landed in their inbox at midnight. She set the phone aside, telling herself to forget it, but the weight of what she'd revealed, a sliver of her private struggle, lingered. Minutes passed. She tried to focus on feeding her baby the last scoops of formula, telling herself she'd figure something out tomorrow. Then, another buzz. Her heart skipped. This time, the message read. "What's your address? I'd like to help." She froze, her mind running in circles. Was this real? Was it safe? People didn't just offer to help strangers out of nowhere. And yet, the words didn't feel mocking or cold. They felt simple. Direct. Still, doubt wrapped around her like a thick blanket. She typed and deleted responses, chewing her lip. In the end, she chose silence. She couldn't risk trusting the wrong person. Hours later, she drifted to sleep on the couch, her baby curled against her, convinced she'd never hear from that stranger again, never imagining that their offer wasn't just sincere, but already in motion. The next afternoon, Emily was rinsing a bottle in the sink when the sharp sound of the doorbell echoed through her small apartment. She wasn't expecting anyone, no one ever just showed up. Heart pounding, she peeked through the peephole, but the hallway was empty. Cautiously, she opened the door. At her feet sat two large cardboard boxes, neatly stacked. On top, a small white envelope with her name written in careful handwriting. She looked around again, still no sign of anyone. Her hands trembled as she dragged the boxes inside. Cutting the tape open, she stared in disbelief. Inside were cans of baby formula, neatly arranged in rows. Underneath, packs of diapers, wipes, tiny bottles, and even a few baby outfits still with tags. She pressed a hand to her mouth, tears pooling in her eyes. Finally, she opened the envelope. A simple note inside read. "Every child deserves to be fed and loved. No need to pay me back. M." Emily sat on the floor, the note in one hand and a can of formula in the other, overwhelmed. The stranger from last night had been real, and somehow, they'd found her. Her baby stirred in the crib, letting out a soft cry. Emily smiled through her tears, preparing a fresh bottle without having to ration every scoop. She didn't know who M was, or why they had chosen to help her, but in that moment, it didn't matter. Someone out there had cared enough to knock on her door without ever asking for anything in return. It was a quiet Sunday morning a few weeks later when Emily scrolled through her phone, sipping the last of her instant coffee. She wasn't looking for anything in particular, just distracting herself while her baby napped. Then a headline caught her eye. Local billionaire quietly helping families in need. Curious, she tapped the article. The story described a man named Michael Langford, a tech entrepreneur worth billions, known for avoiding the spotlight. But lately, he'd been making unannounced visits to shelters, paying off medical bills, and leaving care packages at strangers' doors. The reporter noted he never stayed to be thanked. Emily's breath caught when she saw the accompanying photo. It was him, the tall figure she'd glimpsed through the crack of her door that afternoon, just as he was walking away. She'd thought it was a coincidence, maybe even a delivery person. But now, she knew. Her mind reeled. Why her? Out of all the people in the world, why had he chosen to respond to a wrong number text? She imagined how easy it would have been for him to ignore it, delete it, or block her number. Instead, he'd gone out of his way, personally, to make sure her baby had what they needed. She stared at the photo a long time, feeling a lump rise in her throat. It wasn't just the formula, or the clothes, or the diapers. It was the reminder that even in a world that could feel cold and indifferent, someone powerful had used that power for good, quietly, without expecting applause. Emily hesitated before posting her story online. She didn't want pity, and she certainly wasn't looking for attention. But as she typed, she thought of other parents, mothers sitting in dim kitchens late at night, feeling the same helplessness she had felt. Maybe they needed to hear that kindness still existed. Her post was simple, a brief retelling of the wrong number text, the mysterious packages, and the note signed M. She didn't reveal his name, just his act. Within hours, comments began pouring in, people offering help, sharing their own stories of strangers who had stepped in at the right moment. By the next day, a small community had formed, raising money for struggling parents in their towns. Somewhere in that growing wave of generosity, a message appeared in her inbox. You've started something beautiful. M. Emily smiled, tears stinging her eyes. She realized the most powerful part of what had happened wasn't just the help she'd received, it was the ripple effect it created. One wrong text had sparked a chain of giving that reached far beyond her apartment walls. That night, as she tucked her baby into bed, she whispered, "There's more good in the world than you think." She knew her child wouldn't remember these moments, but one day they'd understand the lesson behind them. Kindness, she thought, doesn't check your bank account before it shows up. It just shows up, and sometimes, it changes everything.